Iran accepts failure after Trump destroys bridges and airports. While the United States expanded attacks in the early hours of July 17, 2026, and hit the infrastructure that keeps the Iranian regime running, road bridges.
The missile hit near the middle of the Guay Reef Bridge. Part of the Guay Reef Bridge is missing. Oh. The truck is near the center of the bridge. Avoid the Guay Reef side of the bridge. On the Guay Reef side of the bridge, the entire Amaya Abul Fakul bridge is completely destroyed. The huge gasoline tanker truck is destroyed. My God!
A railway station, the Iranchar airport, electrical facilities, and checkpoints on the coast were added to the target list. The operation reached its sixth consecutive night and focused its strength on Bandar Abbas, Bandar Kamir, Qashm Island, and Chabahar, areas connected to the Strait of Hormuz.
We are now at the site of the attack by American fighter jets, which according to witnesses hit a bridge 70 kilometers from Bandar Abbas. This bridge connects the route from Bandar Abbas to Bandar Kamir and to the south of Fars province. Due to the impact of this attack, a truck was damaged and its driver was killed. Thank you.
Washington's goal is to cut off military routes, weaken Iranian control over the oil shipping route, and force Tehran to back down. The result has already appeared within the cities. Iran's Ministry of Energy has asked for reduced electricity consumption during heat above 49 degrees Celsius, while residents in the south faced outages and damage to the grid. The regime that threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz is now trying to keep bridges, ports, trains, and the power on. Donald Trump had warned that bridges and power plants would become targets if Iran did not return to negotiations. Even before the announced deadline, the campaign began moving against the routes used to supply the coast and sustain Iranian pressure in the strait. Friday's offensive put the Iranian coast at the center of the pressure campaign. On Friday, the U.S. Central Command reported that fighter jets, drones, and ships fired precision munitions at dozens of targets.
It's infrastructure week in Iran. The coast is under attack. We cut the power and destroyed bridges, cutting off supplies. Iranian media reports that its main train station has exploded. That station handles more than 100 million tons annually from the strait. It also sends oil to China, and there's more. Last night, we destroyed command centers, defenses, missiles, drones, and surveillance all along the coast, even hitting targets inland, near the capital.
The chosen region was not random. Bandar Abbas is home to Iran's largest port and important facilities of the Navy and the Revolutionary Guard. Qashm Island lies off one of the most sensitive routes for global energy trade. By striking these points, Washington is trying to reduce Iran's ability to monitor, threaten, and block vessels. The pressure has reached the roads that connect Bandar Abbas to the interior. Iranian media reported that 5 bridges were hit, as well as the Bandar Kamir train station. At least 7 people died in the attacks on the bridges, according to the Iranian state news agency IRNA. The Associated Press assessed that the strikes appear to have been planned to disrupt the connection between Iran's main port and the central regions of the country, including the route toward Tehran. Irancha also came into the picture. Iranian state television reported explosions near the airport and confirmed that at least 1 American projectile hit the facility. Chabahar suffered another attack and a tower used to monitor port activity collapsed, according to state media. The location is in the Gulf of Oman and is also home to the Revolutionary Guard. The power grid revealed another setback. Iran's Ministry of Energy acknowledged attacks against energy infrastructure and asked residents of the southern provinces to reduce consumption. The appeal came as extreme heat increased demand and Bandar Abbas reported failures after damage to lines and equipment. The guidance to turn off air conditioning units during peak periods showed the war entering people's daily routines. Tehran tried to use civilian suffering to accuse Washington, but it couldn't hide that its infrastructure became vulnerable and that the government lost the ability to sustain consumption, defense, and logistics at the same time. Iran is losing freedom on the roads and is also facing barriers to exporting oil and receiving cargo through its ports. The impact also reached Qatar. Sirens sounded in Doha during the Iranian attack, and the air defenses intercepted the projectiles. The Ministry of the Interior of Qatar reported that a child was injured by shrapnel. The episode carries even more weight because Qatar hosts the Al Udeid Air Base, one of the most important American facilities in the Middle East, and is involved in mediation efforts. Iran struck precisely a nation that was working to make space for diplomacy. The Iranian retaliation also targeted facilities linked to the United States in Kuwait and Bahrain, increasing the risk to civilians and essential services. In Kuwait, the Iranian attack damaged a power and water desalination facility. The local government contained the fire and began to assess the extent of the damage. In a desert region, hitting a facility like this puts basic supplies at risk. Iran tries to respond to American attacks by putting pressure on Washington's allies. But each new action against a neighboring nation strengthens Trump's argument that Tehran threatens regional security and commercial navigation. The possibility of a ground action has started to be discussed by analysts, but there is no official announcement of an invasion. Army veteran Stephen Hittendale estimated a chance between 10 and 20% and stated that American forces already positioned in the region would allow for a quick decision. He mentioned the 82nd Airborne Division and Marine Expeditionary Units as signs of readiness.
What would be the probability, in percentage terms, of a ground operation taking place? From what we see now,
I would say low, very low, maybe 10 or 20%.
okay, that's good.
That's true. I'd say so, but expect little.
That's so bad. I can't believe I said 21 in 5 chances of a ground operation happening.
Okay, it's a 1 in 10 chance.
1 in 10 is still a lot, right? That shows where things stand.
But here's the problem, Mario. The problem is that we'll have little warning if a ground operation is imminent. Many forces are already in the theater of operations and the EWAR units are already in position. They can quickly move more forces from the continental United States to the Middle East. But the ground forces in the Middle East are already numerous. There are already a lot of people there.
How would they get those troops to the island? It would be by parachuting from aircraft and by helicopters or by amphibious ships. How would they get there if it's all that, and is it really serious?
It depends on the situation on the ground, right? The thing is, we don't know and we won't know until it actually happens. But technically, the United States can use all the options mentioned. That's not a problem for the United States.
The difference now is the speed of the escalation. First came attacks against defense systems, missiles, drones, and coastal surveillance. Then came bridges, railways, airports, energy, and port control. The American government says it is seeking to degrade military capabilities used against commercial ships. In practice, the operation is also isolating strategic points and reducing the regime's options along the coast. Tehran needs to defend the Strait of Hormuz, maintain trade, restore power, protect ports, and respond militarily, all under blockade. The regime still promises to escalate the attacks, but its response reveals the extent of the pressure. Missiles were sent against American bases and facilities in neighboring countries. Meanwhile, southern Iran itself was facing broken roads, a damaged train station, a damaged airport, and a lack of power. The propaganda talks about resistance until the end. The reality shows a structure being dismantled and the coastline under American surveillance. Tehran can still choose to negotiate before the United States expands its targets. Trump said he would leave energy facilities for a later stage, but the attacks have already hit electrical equipment and transmission lines. The regime's next decision will be made with fewer routes, less maritime freedom, and a population under pressure from the heat and blackouts. While Iranian leaders repeat threats, teams are working to restore bridges, power, and access that supported the regime's presence in the Strait of Hormuz. Thank you very much for watching this video until the end. Support our project and contribute financially through the Pix key that appears on your screen. We are an independent channel focused on keeping you informed with the truth. Your contribution helps us keep going.